We're live.
Yeah.
Where is this?
Just
Generally.
Pickle and Koi, that little subdivision, that older subdivision, it backs up to the field. Joseph is in Mary Ellen, I think.
Okay.
Okay.
The one that doesn't have septic.
Oh, no, I think they
It's not
did.
that far down
Yeah,
there.
no, it's right there.
That's Brown.
Right there, yeah. This is right at Pickle and Koi.
Okay.
There's like 3 streets named after probably their daughters or something.
Okay.
But
Going to call to order the
21st, May 21st.
Planning Commission agenda or meeting for Tuesday, May 21st, 2024. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Orvitz,
Here.
Mayor Sphirian,
Here.
Chairman Wankowski.
Here. As you can see, for those people who have petitions before us today, there are only 3 of us here. Normally, there are 5. In order for you to successfully get a recommendation from the Planning Commission, you need to normally get 3 out of those 5 votes to vote in favor of your petition. Even with 3 on the panel, you still need to get 3 out of the 5 in order to pass your petition. When you are presenting, you can either elect to cancel today and come back a month from now when hopefully we will have 5. If we believe you will not pass, we will tell you before we take a vote, and you will have the option then to delay this 30 days to the next meeting. So we will keep you informed. If we believe more than likely you're going to have the votes, then we will tell you that as well and go from there. But I'm going to call the first matter is ST 1569-23, which is split transfer for a variance on the width to depth ratio in an R2 medium density residential zone district on the property described as parcel number 44-19304. The location is 3415 Star Avenue. The applicant is Andrew English for owner Faith United Methodist Church. Mr. Schrake.
Mr. Chair, the property currently is part of a larger parcel that has been granted a special use to operate as a church. The proposed split from the north end of the property would create a long, narrow lot from east to west. The proposed frontage along South Coy Road would be 100 feet, which would comply with the R2 district standards that this property is regulated by. The proposed split would also create a nonconformity with the existing church parking lot per OMC section 1152.08, which requires a 10-foot buffer from the new property line. And that can be seen at that point of the parking lot that is very close to the proposed property line. The City of Oregon also has plans to widen South Coy Road in July of 2024. The Building and Zoning Department has no objections to the request for relief on the width to depth ratio, provided a drainage plan, a utility connection plan, and a site plan with modifications to the existing parking lot are provided showing compliance with OMC section 1152.08. Thank you.
Thank you. Would the applicant please come up, sign in, identify yourself and address, please?
Yes, I'm already signed in. My name is Andrew English. I currently reside at 3240 Cromwell Drive in Oregon. I've applied for this on behalf of Faith. I am working closely with Faith United Methodist. I approached them. They had previously attempted to sell a piece of this property several years back, but they were not successful in selling that. I approached them so that my wife and I could ask them to sell us the lot so that we could put a single family home on that first quarter acre and then plant trees further down in the rest of that acreage. So my intent would be to not change those trees that provide a lot of shade and beauty and privacy for those neighbors directly behind it, as well as to just plant more gardens and more trees around there with just a single family use. We are aware, both myself and Faith, that there are not all the hookups needed right there for that split, should it happen and should us be able to build there. But my wife and I would plan to present the city with plans to make those hookups possible and to pay for those as needed. So, thank you.
Mr. Shrake, I am assuming, and this is just eyeballing it, that and I'm looking at this, that obviously this is 3415, but as I go further down, what would be Star to the east, 3451, 3465, are all of those non-conforming as well? Width to depth? They look like it from the picture.
Mr. Chair, that is correct. All of those would be pre-existing non-conforming prior to the zoning code.
Okay. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak in favor of this proposal? Is there anyone? Okay, come up, please. Yeah, because it's being recorded, so.
Do I have to say?
You say your name and address for the record.
Sly Salick, 3340 Cromwell. My question was, is it just going to be one house?
Correct. That would be my intent should the city grant this and the church sells myself. Yes, there would just be one house at the front of that lot. And then we'd use the rest of that for gardens and orchard.
So I want to know. I'm good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to be heard on this matter? Mr. Roman?
If I could comment, just in our review, I just wanted to note that the hookup for sanitary and drainage might be difficult for the site. So not to take away from the idea of a split, but I'm just saying the sanitary, we mentioned the road widening. Widening of Coy is very small width increase. It's actually, we're just repaving it. The wish is to, if someone's going to tap the sanitary, which is on the opposite side of the road, we'd require them to bore across the road. There's also a lot of pipelines, petroleum product lines in Coy that are going to be very difficult to bore past. Okay, an open cut would also be extremely difficult. The entire neighborhood to the north ran their sanitary east and tapped into Star off to the east. So just to avoid tapping the sanitary on Coy. So it's a very difficult, I just want the homeowner to, whoever is the potential purchaser, that the sanitary is very difficult tap, just, you know, for this site. It'll be expensive. And drainage may be just as much. I just want that to be clear. So shouldn't interfere with your decision, but I'm just saying, we don't normally ask for a utility plan, blah, 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 but we did here because it's difficult.
What's the likelihood of going across the church's property to Star?
It could be done, but the church would have to grant an easement to them to do that. Could easily be done, and I wouldn't object to that if that works out to be the easiest.
That may very well be the answer, though it's going to be expensive as well, so.
Yeah, with Coy, we're just concerned, we're gonna pave it. It's gonna be it's $1 million project, so our wish is to not open cut it, is the reality of it. We would require a bore if it's not built.
Unless they do it real quick.
Unless they did it real quick, but my gut is you may need
Harder
a pump station, you may need a pump station, a force main, just to wiggle around the pipelines that's there in Coy now. I'm saying gravity may not be feasible.
That makes sense.
Did you say it may not be feasible?
Correct. Yeah.
So
Tap it down.
everything that we're doing regardless is, in order for him to build, even if we grant this, they still have to get by Mr. Roman and
Correct.
his department for approval before they can build. So
Correct.
That's beyond us, though.
Correct. So that you're correct, Mr. Chairman. It's different from your decision. I just want the person who may potentially buy it to understand that.
Well, he's here, so.
Mr. English, you're well aware of the, could you come go to the podium, please?
Yes,
You're well aware of these situations with the utilities then?
Correct. I had a few different random contractors that I speak with. They didn't pull plans from the city or anything like that, but just kind of give me a rough in the way of 20 to 30,000 is what they were guessing to go south to Star or to Bore is what they had suggested, from what they knew and what was public that they could get a hold of really quickly. But I haven't given it, no one has given me formal like bids or formal quotes like that. I have not picked a contractor to build. And to be honest, it would probably be 2 years down the road or so before we look at that, because we
Okay.
pay off the land to the church, things like that prior.
Okay.
So it would probably be after, from what I'm hearing, the repaving of Coy anyways.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, just want to make sure you were well aware of the cost.
Yes, I appreciate that.
Ain't gonna be cheap.
Chair would move to close the public hearing.
No objection.
Hearing no objections. Public hearing is closed. Floor is open for a motion.
I'll make a motion for the passage of ST-1569-23.
Second.
Roll, please.
Mr. Orvitz,
Yes.
Mayor Safarian.
Yes.
Chairman Winkowski.
Yes. So that one we didn't need to tell you, you may not pass, but you did pass, so.
Thank you for your time.
Second matter before us is SUE 18324, special use in an R2 medium-density residential district for the purpose of housing 3 ducks on the property described as parcel number 44-61407. The applicants owners are Andrew Erard and Carly Saar. The location is 1105 Earlwood Avenue. Mr. Schrag.
Mr. Chair, the applicant has provided information regarding waste disposal, management of offensive odors, size of duck house, and site plan showing exact location. The proposed location of the duck house is adjacent to an open lot, which is not located near any neighboring structures. The Building and Zoning Department has no objection to the request as submitted on the condition that the number of ducks remain at 3. Further conditions would be as follows. Coops or cages housing the ducks shall be kept at least 25 feet from the door or window of any dwelling or occupied structure other than the owner's dwelling. Coops and cages shall not be located within 5 feet of a side yard lot, nor within 18 inches of a rear yard lot line. The coop and outdoor enclosure must be kept in a sanitary condition and free from offensive odors. The coop and outdoor enclosure must be cleaned on a regular basis to prevent accumulation of waste. There shall be no outdoor slaughtering in the line of vision of any neighboring properties. That is all, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Mayor Safarian.
I just want to add something to this before we proceed. Council did forward legislation to pass a duck, chicken, and rabbit ordinance that would permit this without going as an SUE. It's a matter of a timing where this will probably take effect days before the legislation will pass. So regardless of the legislation, I think they would in essence be able to do this 3 ducks and actually 3 more in probably a week after this passes. So just so that you know, the current legislation would permit you to do this without even coming here.
Mayor,
But we
would that-
didn't, yeah.
Mayor, would that also apply to the next one as well?
Let me see, no.
But it says 10.
10, that's
But it would be
because
6. is
It
what
would be
you're-
6, it would permit 6, but so the second one would require the SUE. Just so that we all, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, Mayor Severian, the new legislation, though, would still require registration and an annual permit, which would be renewed automatically, provided there are no complaints
Well, yeah, I
or
understand.
issues. So while it would be permitted, they would still have to get a permit.
I did understand that, but I was just making reference to the magnitude of this is very little.
Thank you for that information.
And we had, as you know, we have talked about that for about 10 years of creating. that legis-
Absolutely.
And here it's like 10 years later, we actually have it. Unfortunately for you, it probably cost you the $300 filing fee for it. But, huh?
Who is either Andrew or Carly? Okay. And then you're Michael? Yes. Okay. In following up with what the mayor just said, you have the option to pull this. Obviously, if council is going, both of you do, council is going to pass the ordinance within the next 60 days, correct?
They'll probably pass it next Monday,
Okay.
and then it'll go into effect
And
30
so
days after.
It'll
that.
go into effect 30 days after that. If it passes and it's approved by council, no question you'll be able to have 6. Then the question is, okay, we want, in your case, you're covered. In your case, you want 10, you're allowed to have 6. Then you can make the call on whether or not you want to come back for the additional ones. Or live with 6 and do that. Because I can tell you today, you may not pass today with the 3 of us up here. So if we kick it out 30 days, we'll certainly know more what council has done.
How important is 10 ducks versus 6?
I have 9, I was with 10, so.
Yeah.
That's what me and my son
Just to let you know that the number 10 didn't sit well with me, and I don't think it, yeah, well, even 9 just didn't sell personally with me, just letting you know that now. If they withdraw their application, then they get refunded the 300.
They do not unless I decide that.
Okay.
And if you wanted to, I would decide that.
I mean, I'm totally down with that.
You're pretty what?
I said I'm down with that.
You're down with that, all right.
Yeah.
And I would instruct Mr. Schrake that he could refund that. And if
So-
you wish to do that,
The-
then what you would do is you would go back to the inspection department and file for the permit. And they would explain to you what you have to do, but it's very straightforward.
At that point, though.
Is there a cost with the permit?
All right. I'll just transfer.
It's only $295.
Yeah.
No,
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
that has not been
Okay.
established. Again,
it's
Because
going to
this
be
is
less than
new.
$300.
it will be less than 300.
Let's say it passes Monday, right? Council passes it, whatever, this
I think
Monday or next Monday.
there's probably about a 99% chance that it's going to pass.
This Monday or next Monday. It will take effect in 30 days. So at the end of that 30 days, you will come in and get a permit. You will be allowed to have 6. If you want more,
Then come
you
back.
can then petition us to request for more, to come back here.
The problem with you is we've rejected others. 6 became the number that we found to be manageable and acceptable for surrounding neighbors. Of course, there are some exceptions where people live in a very secluded area and it may have an impact on whether your likelihood of passing for 10 is likely or not likely. But we had to draw a line to protect the integrity of the zoning that exists, that anybody buys a house has, with the expectation that something that they find to be intrusive doesn't impact them. Somebody changed the rules after they bought the house. Well, we are kind of changing the rules, but we went through 10 years of procedure, going through this absolute procedure, as both of you have gone through for about 10 years, coming up with that 6 being the threshold number, and seemed to be maybe not always liked by the neighbors, but they were okay with. And what we have, what Mr. Schrake has explained about the maintenance that you're required to upstand to hold your permit, we come up with that too. And when we enforce that, we've had very few complaints by neighbors. It's very acceptable. That's why it was kind of hard for us to go beyond that 6 when times in the past we did, and it didn't work out well. And so we were trying to be fair.
So as the chairman, my thought is that you would postpone your application for 30 days, which we would be, then we'll.
Or I would actually
She could
withdraw.
withdraw.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I would postpone it for 30 days. What, and, because
I am,
if it
I'd be
happens to
amazed
fail
if it-
Monday,
it's not gonna fail.
I don't think it's gonna fail. I think it's gonna pass.
yes.
By chance it did.
then we should be back here discussing hers and his
Yeah.
a month from now.
And if you
I guess that-
postpone, you
yeah.
can still withdraw, you know.
Because there is, I say I give it a 99% chance to pass. But I guess you're not out if you wait
I
that.
wish I knew this.
Yeah.
I
Well-
like to work.
Well, like I said, we've been working with it for approximately 10, 12 years.
Oh, yeah.
10, I think it's conservative to say 10, 12 years. And then we had to know what the temperament of the council was and what I experienced. And I'm doing it a long time. I feel real strong about the 99%, maybe a little more chance that it passes. But the fact that if you wait to see Monday if it passes before you formally go in and withdraw, I guess that's the smart thing to do.
Okay, so.
It would
Monday,
be, it'd
So
be
you-
Tuesday.
Yeah, so by
Monday is a
Tuesday, yeah.
holiday.
And then
Yeah, Tuesday, yeah.
So you're asking us to postpone this by 30
Yeah.
days?
yeah.
You're asking us to postpone this by 30 days?
And we may, before the 30 days come up, we may see a withdrawal from at least one of you and maybe 2 of you.
Yes. It'll be for
If it- It'll be
6.
for 6.
No.
Yeah.
So,
Like our property line difference, so we have a big cornfield behind our house.
Mhm.
The neighbors are compliant or don't disagree. But I don't want to try for the 9 right now, like you guys just said.
Yeah.
sure.
Just for clarification, you have a cornfield by your house today.
Yeah.
That is changing.
Mr.
Yeah.
Roman,
Yeah.
Mr. Roman,
I was just gonna comment. So I was there as well, and one of the comments was, why 6? Why did you pick the number 6? Is it arbitrary? And Mr. Schrake said, well, look, almost a lot of other communities have used the number 6. But one of the comments made by one of the council members was, well, why can't it be less? You know, like almost questioning, like 6 is too much. Doesn't mean you can't come back to us and ask for more because you're a different situation. I'm not taking that away from you. But I know council was really questioning the number 6 as if it should be less. But I agree with the mayor. It likely will pass.
I think 6 came from us
It,
because we've
Well,
dealt
and
with
others,
this.
but there's other
we-
communities that
we've-
have 6.
But we've dealt with this so much that we did the research into what other communities were doing.
And just
6
problems we
seemed to be the
experienced.
number. 6 seemed to be the number in most of the communities.
What's that?
Yes. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, that would be, yes, yes.
And you would be fine.
I would,
I'll take that.
that would be,
There you go. You
A-
found
a
a new
smart
home
thing
for
to
3 of them.
So SUE 183-24 and 184-24 are hereby tabled by the chair for 30 days. And pending the outcome.
Well, it
of
might be- I don't know if it's 30
proposed
days to the
legis-
next meeting.
To the next meeting and the proposed legislation that is before Oregon City Council in the next 2 meetings.
and when we have rules here, some people find it to be like cumbersome to come to, like you just said, to come to this meeting and what all. We have to abide by rules. And really, we're trying to be fair, even like Chairman Winkowski said, we have 3 of us here. We'll give you the heads up if we think it isn't gonna pass, or we'll give you the heads up if we think it is gonna pass. We really do work with the people, even though it doesn't seem like it sometimes. But really, that's what we're out here to do. We're trying to do that impossible thing. Please 100% of the people 100% of the time. We rarely do, but we at least try to come close.
Enjoy your evening off.
Mayor,
I
Mr.
gotta go
Roman?
back.
Oh, you gotta go back to
I gotta
work.
go back.
If
Oh,
there,
well.
I just want to comment, if there were neighbors that were questioning the request, maybe they weren't for it or had an issue with it, it's worth them getting a copy of the legislation so that they're aware of it. It is strict rules. There's a permit procedure and you have to follow it. So you just got to remember that.
I
It
was
isn't-
gonna ask for a copy of everything you just said, because I,
So getting a copy of the, and anybody who was here on this subject, it's worth getting a copy of the legislation.
But
We-
in
we-
fairness.
We would
the-
like to, though, if we're going to disseminate that after it has passed,
okay.
And the
so
only
that there
reason-
isn't these,
And you can probably find it on the website. Will it
The
be on the
only-
website Tuesday?
should be.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
And the
Absolutely.
only reason I bring it up is if someone was here in opposition to these requests
Right.
and they're not getting a chance to speak on it because it's getting tabled,
Yeah,
well, there's a legislation on,
they are. They are.
and that can go Tuesday. You could go to that.
And it will be on the website Tuesday then.
But in fair,
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
you go online and watch it live. And the rules for your permit are very much the same rules that you would be enforced if this passed.
Right.
So it's, for you, it'd be almost crazy not to withdraw.
Right, right. That's why when you were.
For you, almost too. Yeah.
And for those of you that may have been, you're either in favor or in opposition.
If you have any questions, ask
Actually,
them.
if you have any questions, you can ask one of us, so, or all of us, either way, whatever you
Do
feel.
we have anything? Yeah, you could ask. All right, yeah.
I live on Harvard, and I've heard nothing bad at all.
Mhm.
You know, no smell, any problem. But people have said to me, well, what's next? Pigs? Can we have pigs? Can we have
Well,
cows? Can we have goats?
well, in essence.
In our neighborhood, you know, Mike.
Yeah, well, in essence, part of the legislation we had would have permitted applications for other animals, and that was taken out. So the only thing that is being expanded with this new legislation is the number 6, and it only includes ducks, hens, not just chickens, because chickens include roosters too. So just the hens, ducks, and rabbits. No other animal is included in that. Someone would always have the opportunity to go for a goat or a pig, but they would have to come through the SUE process, and the likelihood of prevailing is quite a bit lower than any of the other things that we've passed.
No, that's been struck.
What we chopped out was all this other language on property says, we've removed that. This legislation is strictly ducks, rabbits, and hens.
But someone would always have the opportunity to apply for any animal, just with this SUE process. And
I recently met somebody that had the worst one.
what's that?
You know, they're very low.
Well, and 99% of the time they would be voted down. So, but people do have the rights. That's why we have a Board of Zoning Appeals and the Planning Commission to
The
address
whole yard.
a request. And some are very likely, some are very unlikely to happen. So there could be that one.
Well, what could be next?
Well, depending on what a council would choose to want to pass, well, anything is possible. but most of those things are very unlikely. Like I said, it took us 10 or 12 years, probably more closer to 12 or 13, to get to the point to add that to the zoning code to permit those. And we felt the federal government might have been even being mandating you to allow stuff like that, because as time changes, people with wanting to grow their own eggs and stuff become sympathetic. Yeah, so we're trying to be fair. Yeah,
Us too.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that.
and we voted, that's why we came to that number. As the chairman said, we come to the number 6, and we were pretty solid on it. So there could be some exceptions, because somebody could be surrounded by agricultural property that would permit an unlimited number, and they could be next door. They would have a little more latitude than someone close to an R2 property or subdivision. So, yeah. So, and that's why we come with the permit process too, to if someone isn't maintaining it, that can still be revoked. Anytime there's a complaint,
Usually takes a complaint for zoning to go
Yeah.
out and find something.
all you have to do is call and file a complaint, and inspectors go out.
You know, there's only so many of them that work in that department.
And that's fair, that's a
If,
fair
if
thing.
they see something, you know, they live all over town. If they see something, obviously, they will inquire about it. But most of, I think, what gets triggered is someone complains.
There's a fine line between it being, just seeing something, a violation going on, or being a peeping Tom. So we would really go with the complaint-driven enforcement.
Mr. Carter, you had Drake ducks, is that correct? Peking, Peking, but, and what kind of ducks did you have? What are they? Okay, I saw them.
They're supposed to all be,
They're what?
they're supposed to all be female.
Oh, all right.
She's using words correctly, supposed to, because sometimes you find out later they're
Yeah.
not.
I don't know a lot about ducks.
I
I know they're
believe that's
roosters.
it. If that's it,
We're out of here.
hearing no objection, the meeting is adjourned.
No objections.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.